This is a short video on how to create and set up a Perf cut contour job on your Roland printer. We're going to be doing this today through Adobe Illustrator, and I will show you how to set it up in VersaWorks. So within Illustrator, the first thing you need is your Roland VersaWorks spot color palette. As long as you have VersaWorks 6 installed on your PC, these swatches will be built into your local disk. If you wish to see how these are installed into Illustrator, we have another video on our channel. If you want to check that out, it's how to import the Roland swatches into Illustrator. Once you have that in the software, you'll now see you've got all your spot colours. So you'll have your cut contour, which is your print and cut option, and then you have your Perf cut contour. We're going to concentrate today on the Perf cut contour. If you use the FlexiSign or CorelDRAW, it doesn't have to be this spot colour. So if you struggle to find the colour palette, you can find any colour as long as it's called Perf cut contour with a capital P, capital C with no space. That is the coding that VersaWorks will recognise you want to perform a Perf cut contour. So we've got a little demo job set up. All I'm going to do at this point is just keep it very basic, so you can select whatever part of the job you want a Perf cut contour. So for this, I'm just going to cut the outer square. So select the line, select Perf cut contour, make sure your stroke is selected within Illustrator, and make that Perf cut contour your stroke. Make sure it's the thinnest point possible, so 0.25 in this instance. And I'm just going to do the same again for this line. So I'm going to make that my Perf cut contour, make sure it's the thinnest point possible. And that's your job set up. So like I say, very basic. All you're doing in Illustrator is selecting what lines you want to select, and you're just applying the Roland VersaWorks Perf cut contour swatch to it. So what we're going to do now is bring that into VersaWorks. We'll set it up in there, and I'll also show you how to create the cut line within VersaWorks. In Illustrator, or whichever design software you use, when you've brought it into VersaWorks, VersaWorks has now recognised that you want to perform a perforated cut. So as far as that side's concerned, you've done that correctly. Now what we want to do is set it up so we can do a perf cut on this job. So you set it up as normal, so you go into your job settings. So as you can see the dotted lines going around it, which indicates it's found a perf cut contour. Set up whichever vinyl you use. Obviously your colour management, all this should normally be set in your queue settings when VersaWorks is installed. So set up as normal. What you get as you come down to cut controls, this is where you can enable the perforation and you can edit the settings. The settings shown here are default for VersaWorks 6. So me personally, I keep everything the same apart from the perforation force. The perforation force, it may take several attempts. It's a little bit trial and error. Each machine is different with the force. You don't want to go too high too soon. It will damage your blade, it will damage your cutting strip. Start low and work your way up. So like I say, it might take one or two attempts to get the force right. Once that's right, then you then have a base point to start from. So the perforation length, this is the length that the blade will perforate the vinyl. So essentially cutting through the vinyl and the backing sheet, and that is set to 20 mil. As you come down, you've got the half cut length, that is set to 1 mil. That is the gap it leaves. So I keep the length, perforation length, and the half cut length the same, and all I ever change is the force when needed. It is user preference, so if you find that your vinyl, the stickers are falling out, or it's not quite gripping onto your material once it has cut, you can change the half cut length or the perforation length depending on what you find more comfortable. What you can do as well is the cut image boundaries. You can create that to you can create a weed box around your image. So what you can do is you can click cut image boundaries, and what that will do then is put a box around your stickers. At the minute this is just a kiss cut. To make it a perforated cut, you can then select perform perforated cut for image boundaries, and that will do exactly the same thing. So it will also do, if you didn't want to do it in Illustrator, you can come straight into VersaWorks and just set the perforated cut for image boundaries, and that will perform a perforated weed border around the stickers you've already done. Once you're happy, you can then press OK, and that's your job setup. You can also apply the perforated cut within VersaWorks using the new Job Assistant function. So the Job Assistant, if you've never used it before, we have got another video on our channel which is a more in-depth look at the Job Assistant. But in this case, the Job Assistant allows you to add cut lines, perf cut lines, and also add the spot colours, so the gloss and the white for your UV printing within VersaWorks itself. So we'll have a quick look at that. So if you go into the job, we'll select the job that hasn't got the perf cut contour on at the minute. So we'll select that one. We'll go to job, and then we'll go to Job Assistant. This will open a dialog box. So now you've got your job. You can add your spot colours, so if you've got UV or you've got the white ink configuration on your TrueViz or your older VersaCam, you can apply the white within VersaWorks. But what we're going to do now is just go to the cut. You've got your normal cut line, which is your cut contour, and you've got your perforated cut. So again, if you didn't want to do it through Illustrator, you can select certain parts of your job. Depending on how it's made, you can select certain parts like the outer of this box or the outer box itself, so you can select that one. You can also add an offset, so if you wanted a slight bleed on your perf cut, again at this point it doesn't matter because all we're doing is cutting a border around the sticker we've done. So you can create one that's 1mm offset to the border, so you can press create, and what it will do, so that's done the cut contour. I'll show you on this one with the perforated cut contour. So again, we'll do, for this one we'll do a -1, so this will do a bleed on the inside of your job normally. So if you press create, you'll then see the grey line is your perf cut contour. So you've got your grey line, which is your perf cut, and your pink line, which is adding the cut contour. So press OK, press yes, and what that will do, that will create a new job within VersaWorks, and now we've got a job that one has the normal cut, and the sticker on the right will have a perforated cut. And that's how you set up a very basic way of setting up the perf cut within VersaWorks and within Illustrator.